So forced questions we haven't gone into. So forced questions are those pop-up questions that pop when you hit something. So for instance, I've got a few things in here, so we're going to look at the old combo. So what happens when they hit the item called the old combo? And mind you, what I tend to do in support guys and programmers, help your support guys out with this. When you're building a forced question, when you put in the name for it, match it up if you at all possible to the item you're attaching it to. So when you're playing detective, if a forced question isn't working properly or the customer wants to change a forced question, it's detective work. So you want to try to make it as easy as possible for those people that have to support it, and also for the customer. If they're doing their own menu maintenance, you have to consider this when you're building out menus. If they're going to be maintaining their own menu, they have only 10% of the knowledge base that any of us will end up having. So think about your complexity. You can still give them style and form and make it look great, but you don't have to make it so complex, because in the end, they have to support it. They have to maintain it. Otherwise, it becomes a support nightmare. So keep that in mind when you're doing all of this stuff. So in this world, what combo? So there's a combo in the system. And I named this particular, all this name functionality does here is the name of this forced question. This is all behind the scenes. They don't see it on the front side. So you can see here, this is another way, too, of doing combos. This is the old style way of doing combos prior to we built the combo functionality in the system, where you literally would do it with a forced question. But now there's no auto recognition in here. There's no locking anything in anything. So keep that in mind when you're doing that. Let's go look at my topping, pizza toppings. So this one I think is a better example. So pizza toppings is pretty easy for the support guys to kind of fish out. And you can see here all the different items that we have in the system that relates to different pizza toppings. And you'll notice they all are set to modify price with the exception of olives. Olives is set to a fixed price. Now, all of your modifier windows, you can go in for any one of these items, any one of these products that were built in. They were probably set up as optional items, but you could also do regular menu items in here as well. Keep that in mind. So in here, if you click to the right of the box, you can choose the price that you want to point to. So you're not locked into just the modify price. You can pick any menu price that you want to point to. A good example of this is maybe you're going to build a window and it's going to offer them with their meals, they have an option to have super salad. So I create a pop-up window or a forced window question, excuse me, that has super salad. But maybe they can also get the house Caesar salad, and they can get that for an upsell charge. So this is where you could then point to any one of your menu pricing to point to what that upsell charge might be. So maybe A is your regular Caesar salad price at $4.50. But B or J, I tend to kind of come down the list on them because I want it closer to where the modifier price is. Maybe you're going to offer it for $3, or you could use the fixed price. And here I could say, you know, you can have this. Actually, let's go ahead and add one. So I'm going to add an answer. I'm going to look for my salad. Let's see, garden salad. And they can have a garden salad. I'm not going to go with the menu price. Maybe I want to look at one of my other prices, or I can say a fixed price, and I can say they can get that for $2. So it overrides whatever that particular item's normal price is, because when you order it within this forced question window that is attached to a specific item, then it follows whatever you've put here for the price or whatever price list you've picked. All right? So you pick your items, add answers, remove answers. That would just be to get rid of an answer that I didn't want. Sort alphabetically. Be cautious with this. This is great for certain things if you want everything to be alphabetized. But you want to kind of think about what the staff sees. So typically when you pull up these forced question windows, it reads left to right. And a lot of places, they don't particularly care for the system sorts left to right is what it does. But a lot of people were used to looking for things of this nature in columns. So you kind of want to go down the list. So if you want to read the answers left to right, alphabetizing is fabulous. But if you plan on looking at things in columns going from top to bottom, then you're not going to want to use that. And then you're manually going to sort these in whatever order you want them to show up on the screen. So we talked about the name. This is just the name of the forced question. And then this is the question that will pop up for the staff to see. So when this question comes up, it's going to ask them, what toppings would you like to select? So again, it's just another way of walking the cashier, the server through what you're looking for on the system. Okay. Number of choices users may select. So again, this is where you can limit. How many topping choices can they select? Now, this is a can. This isn't a have to. So we've told the system they are allowed to choose 10 toppings. So again, this is for a pizza. Maybe, you know, the pizza's only handles so much. And this could be the specific one that's attached to, say, a medium pizza. So maybe a medium pizza can only handle 10 toppings as opposed to a large pizza where it can handle 16 toppings before it starts to degrade the quality, if you will. Minimum number of answers. So now this is set to 0, so they don't have to choose it. So if I were to hook this up to, say, my cheese pizza, and all they want is a cheese pizza, they can just hit done or OK to close the modifier window, the forced question window, without choosing anything because I've told them a minimum of 0. But if you're going to set up a truly forced question, so and say a steak, comes up and asks them for temperatures, you want to put in the minimum answer of 1 because you have got to tell me how you want that steak or that burger cooked. You can't just send it to the kitchen without an answer. So when you set up your medium, you know, your rare, your medium wells, your mediums, medium well, medium rare, etc., you're going to set that up in its own special window, and you're definitely going to want to do a minimum number of a 1. So just think in terms of, is it truly a forced question? Not only did it pop up when they touch the item, but are they forced to make a selection before they can close that window down? And to go with that, so again, that goes with your number of choices. Number of choices user may select. So if we put number of choices users may select as 1 and we make it a minimum of 1, that will then auto-close the window. When I click my auto OK button, my auto OK flag to automatically close the window. So I order my steak, 8-ounce sirloin pops up, I have my temperature choices, I hit medium, and because I set this to 1 and this to 1, along with auto OK, automatically that forced that window to close for me. So there's a combination here when you're building these that you can play with. All right? I'm going to go back and put that to 10 and put this to 0 to match up to the pizza scenario. Number of mod price choices. So maybe my pizza, this particular pizza this is attached to, they get 3 toppings at no charge. So they go through and they pick anchovies, bacon, and chicken. I know, disgusting, but that's my choices today. And those automatically default to the mod price, which typically, again, now mind you, this isn't showing me my price, but I have to assume, again, you have to go back and do some hunting on your setup. In the product setup for, say, chicken, did you leave your mod price at 0? Then what happens if I hit my 4th item? It's automatically, no matter what this is set to, it's automatically going to default to price A. So I'm getting 3, 4, 0, but as soon as I hit my 4th modifier item, regardless of what my modifier price says here, it's going to default back over to price A. So say, for instance, that price is 50 cents. Ham is not going to charge 50 cents. Mushrooms are going to charge 50 cents. Anything that I bring after my 3 choices is automatically going to default to price list A, and then that is going to charge wherever that price is moving forward. Okay? Maximum allowable splits. This is when we're talking split items. And again, this kind of works with, again, your pizza options. So you've got a pizza and they want half sausage and pepperoni on one side, and they want the other half to be pepperoni and onion. So when you do your maximum splits and you set up the keys to allow for splits, it will literally split the items by however many options you allow them to do it by. So we're saying a maximum allowable is 5, but if I say do a half and half type pizza, when I hit green peppers, it's going to literally put half on one side of it, so it's going to be a 0.5, and it's also going to take out 0.5 in inventory. And if there's a cost associated, let's say that I'm already on my 4th topping, so it's going to be 25 cents now because it's going to split that price in half as well. Again, if I do a half pizza, if I do, you know, I don't know anybody that would do this, but say a thirds. If I did thirds, it would do that in thirds. So up to, and we've done here up to a maximum of 5. Again, in reality, this again works with pizzas really well, and most places aren't going to go beyond, you know, a half size, so half on. You're not going to pepperoni and pineapple on one half, and then I can have sausage and onion on the other half kind of thing. Okay? So in conjunction with all that, we have some of our tick boxes. So allow multiples. Allow multiples will let me hit any one of these toppings multiple times. So if I chose to hit sausage 3 times, I could hit sausage 3 times. So instead of having an extra sausage and an extra sausage, I could just hit sausage 3 times because I've hit allow multiples. Use buttons. So this is about how the screen displays. Do I want just a list of all these items? So basically on the customer side, on the server side of things, when they go to hit the pizza that this force question is attached to, is my choices going to come up in a list like this, or is it going to be in a button format? So every one of these items is going to be on a button for them to touch. 99% of the time when we build these, we always end up using buttons. It's just a cleaner look at something they're used to seeing, as opposed to just an item list that we're all used to seeing, that we, programming-wise, are used to seeing. Substitutions. I strongly recommend that you always use the substitution button, and you put that functionality on the system. What that does is, let's go back to let's do a hamburger. So I ordered my hamburger, I wanted it medium rare, and I'm going to have that with coleslaw. So I bring all that in, and then I realize either as a server I made a mistake, or the customer comes up and says, oh, you know what, forget the coleslaw, I'd rather have French fries. What allowing the substitution functionality to do, and having that functionality on the system, is in my order tab over to the left-hand side, my order list, I can touch that coleslaw, hit my substitution button. It's going to reopen that modifier force question, so now I can hit my French fries. If you don't put substitution on the screens for them, they literally, and the only way they could change that item is to void it. They're going to have to go back and void the burger and start all over again. So definitely when you're working with force questions, you definitely want to make sure that you put on your substitution functionality and put that function button on their screens for them, so that they can actually utilize that in locations that are force question heavy. And automatically OK, we talked about is that once I satisfy my number of choices and my minimum do one-to-one, as soon as they hit those many touches, this will automatically close the window for them, so they don't have to hit the OK button to get out of the window. And that's your force question. So you build them here. And again, this is all mapping out your menu, guys. When you're looking at the menu pages, you think about all the force questions that you have to have. These aren't just the generic modifier screens that we've talked about. These are literally attached to specific items. Once you've done that, I'm going to get out of here. Then you go back to your product setup. You find the item that you want to attach this to. And then you now attach that force question to that menu item. And when you're attaching your questions, you attach them in the order that you want them to pop up. So maybe I'm going to have pizza toppings come first. And then maybe I do have, a salad combo type situation where they can have super salad. So maybe I do that as another question where I would have built the force question for super salad. And that would be my second question, and so on and so forth. You organize them here how you want them to pop up, and also how then, as long as you don't use a lot of the print priority whatnot, the answers will pop up in the same fashion. So again, maybe I do this for my burger or my steak. It's my S, sorry. So my steak sandwich. So I don't have any questions, but let's pretend. My first question would be temperature. How do you want it prepared? My next question might be, what side do you want with it? Fries, coleslaw, salad. My third question might be, what type of bread do you want it on? Or any one of those groupings. And then as you answer them, that is also how it's going to show up on screen, and then how it's going to also print in the kitchen. Because the kitchen needs to maybe know, I need to know the temperature, then I need to know the bread style, and then maybe I do or don't need to know if they're having a super salad with the item. And you choose whether or not, based on the items that they touch, whether or not, like the super salad might not print to the kitchen because maybe that's something the server gets themselves. So you wouldn't have that here, but in a drive-thru situation, you would put that in here. You would add the, again, temperature, bread style, super salad. That would be a question that you would build because you would need that for a drive-thru scenario or a kiosk scenario. Okay? So it's kind of like bringing this kind of all together for you.